Evening all, Mickey here, Hampshire Outdoor Survival. How you all doing? I'm afraid it's just going to be me tonight. Kaz is feeling a bit off colour, so she's crashed out downstairs on the sofa. I've not disturbed her and I've come upstairs to crack on my own, leave her in peace. If she feels up to it later, she might stroll in and join us, but that's completely her choice. I hope you're all good wherever you are in this glorious world of ours, and I hope you're all having or have had a fantastic weekend. So, guys, where are we? Let's say ground fog. Hello, mate. Dirty faces. Hiya. Find your friends with Ireland. Jason, how you doing, mate? Hope you're good. Katrina, hiya, sweetheart. Hope you're brilliant. Hope you're having a great week. God blimey, the old beard's coming on, Mickey. The beard's coming on. Yeah, see if I can get it long enough to hide this old wonky tortured face. That'll do me a favour. Um, yeah, so tonight I'm not on the Guinness either, and I'm not on the cider. Tonight I've got a special treat for myself, courtesy of a friend who knows I rather like it. I'm on the Desperados, because I do like Desperados. Katrina, you've been in hospital all day with Mike. Oh, no. Hope Mike's okay. We're sending you our best thoughts, love, and wishes. Um, yeah, let us know what he's done to us. Oh, if you want to send Caroline a private message, you can do. Dirty faces, hello, matey. So let me crack my beer open. And again, not sat and really prepped anything for tonight. We're gonna have a bit of a chat. Jess, how you doing, Jess? Cheers to you, sweetheart. Kitten, our international viewer, Kitten. He's watching from abroad. Hello, mate. Hope you're good. Oh, do like a Desperado. That is in the summer. If Mickey is going to drink beer, that's his beer of choice, if not cider. Um, yeah, I've got a little bit of a taste for Desperado. Don't know why. Anyhow, Lanzarote. Oh yes, nice little volcanic island out in the Atlantic there. Um, so yeah, I hope you're having a great time, Curtin, and I hope the weather's great, and I hope your lovely missus is thoroughly enjoying herself too. Lots of touring around, sunning yourselves, enjoying yourselves. Yeah, don't do anything I would. You'd probably get busted for it, might get handcuffed, deported. But there we go. That's just me, isn't it? Yeah. So, where are we going to go to? And in fact, I won't start the actual theme of tonight just yet, purely and simply because there is still an 8, 9 minutes to go, and there might be people looking at joining us for the theme, and I don't want to burn out too quick. Yeah, Ken, I bet you're all exhausted, mate. So Ken was up at 3:30 this morning to go get his flight. Oh, yeah, flights, eh? Having to get to the airport early, and like waiting around, hanging around, tension. And there's always somebody that goes, "Oh, the flight's delayed." And then you're like, "Oh no, what's going on? What's going on?" And invariably it's not. Um, it becomes a bit of a nightmare. Well, at least you were able to fly out, Ken. In Heathrow. It's I believe it's getting back together, but I think there's still some problems there. There was a big fire, Jason. Great, what brilliant. One of the key pieces of British infrastructure, right? Heathrow Airport, busiest airport in Europe, and it relies on a substation that got knocked out, which pretty much disabled the whole place. Surely, in today's modern world, there's got to be a requirement, or should be a requirement, for having backup systems. Okay. No, I'm not saying there wasn't a backup system for getting hold of aircraft emergencies, turning things around, getting people moved out. But the airport got knocked out by one substation failing. That's pretty crazy. Bear in mind, we live in this connected modern world. You'd think there would be a way of getting around it, or you'd even think major infrastructure like that would have its own power supply plus maybe a backup or something that could keep it operating, because that has got to cost. It's got to cost the airline millions. It's got to cost the government millions. That impact then comes down the line to the likes of us, because goods spoil, goods can't be moved, loss of work, people waiting for equipment. Oh, there's lots of conspiracy theories for what actually happened. Seems pretty suspicious. You're right, Jess. However, one thing I would like to point out, it was also within the right sort of window of opportunity for a mass coronal ejection, which happened this week. Me and Owen have been looking into it, and it's funny. Exactly the same time we would have been hit by that mass coronal ejection, that substation went down, and all our infrastructure in the UK is supposed to be hard cased against it. So they're never going to admit it if it was. But then equipment does fail. Technology does go wrong. Safety valves do fail, sensors fail. It's the modern world we live in. But you would think there would be a backup, some sort of system that would sort out. Lefty, how you doing, mate, out there in Bull Shoals, Beaver Creek? I hope you're doing good, brother. I hope you're feeling well. Yeah, more reliable nowadays, but less resilient. Good comment, Kitten. I like that. Yes, in fact, that about sums up the whole world, doesn't it, at the moment? Things are more reliable nowadays, but less resilient. Things in my childhood weren't as reliable, but we were more resilient. But yeah, yeah, I like that. That's a good way of thinking. I really like that. Kiwi, evening, mate. Hope you're feeling good. Hope everything's going good with you, brother. Thoroughly enjoyed what you've been doing just lately. Yeah, nice walk that was. Nice walk. It was nice to see the country parks. Thank you for taking us there. Yes. Conspiracy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's. I'm gonna, and also because I'm on my own tonight, please bear with me. I'm going to try and keep up with the comments. I'll probably go based off that. Getting back to what Jess was saying there about conspiracy theories, I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories. I'm very much a facts orientated man. I want the facts. I want it down on paper. Theories are all well and good. I've hunted plenty of theories in my time. I've chased plenty of cryptids. Ooh. So it's a case of, unless you, it's one of the things I always say to people, unless you were the man there on the street corner when the incident happened, looking at it, or the people involved, then we never actually truly know the truth. There can be as many theories, there can be as many ideas put forward and evidences and the rest of it, but unless you were actually physically there or at the time and directly involved, we never really know, do we? It's yeah, best theories in the world, but yeah, facts is the thing. Interesting one as well. The same thing last week. We had all these wildfires all over the UK, wildfires all over the place, and I've no doubt some of those were sparked by silly people. Um, those silly people hopefully will get caught. Some of them will be caused by neglect. Some of them will be caused by stupidity. But most of them are fueled by neglect of the authorities, the councils, the governments, the people in positions of power that, when I was a boy, maintained these places, had teams of people out there manually clearing the undergrowth, clearing the bushes, that used to have animals put on there to protect the environment and also to keep the brush down. In the name of conservation, lots of organisations over the last 20 years have turned around and gone, well, we're going to stop managing that because it's conservation. We're going to stop cutting the verges. We're going to stop clearing the underbrush. We're going to stop looking after the forest because it's conservation. We don't want to interfere with nature. We'll let it run its own course. Problem is, debris builds up and it builds up and it builds up, it becomes tinderboxes, and then it just takes the smallest thing and whoosh, there you go, see some massive forest fires. This isn't a new thing. This is something that gone off for years. America saw it back in the 30s and 40s, and that brought in their forestry service with watchtowers and teams of guys building fire breaks and managing the forests for years and years and years. And I believe they've got the same issue there that we've had here, where successive people in positions of power go, "Ooh, we can save some money there. We'll cut that back because we don't really need that anymore, do we? Or we can manage with satellites, you know." Satellites, wonderful things as long as there's no clouds. So again, that's my conspiracy theory there. Yeah, yeah, exactly that, Jess. There's warnings all over, and again, as people that love to be outdoors, we love to do our wilderness thing, we love to do our wild camping and so on. It's just as important to us to bear in mind to use systems that are sensible. When I don't want to say don't go out, don't camp, don't have a fire, don't cook, and all the rest of it. But you've got to be practical about it. One of the issues we have today is probably YouTube, probably me. I'm as guilty as anybody else, is putting up videos showing me sitting by a fire, and as people see, my fire's always in the fire pits in a well maintained area. There's always a fire extinguisher and safety equipment around me. The woods is carefully monitored by us at all times when we have a fire, just in case something does spark, and we have an action plan. But people watch the video and they don't want to hear all that because that sounds a little bit boring and preachy. Um, but the truth of the matter is, there are also groups of people that might watch my video or might just decide we're going off to the woods to have a party out the way where the grown-ups can't see us or others can't see us, and we're going to have a high old time. And I'm all for that. But tearing down trees, lighting fires, being disrespectful in that environment is a no go for me. That's not on. When I was a nipper, we used to have beach parties. We'd all head for the beach. We'd get a bleeding great fire going on the beach. We'd have a big party there and have a big booze up. Guarantee you, because we lived there, when it was done the following morning, before we all left and went away with our heads in our hands feeling rotten, it was cleared up. It was tidied up. There was no sign left because we knew that if we then went to have another party and we trashed the place, yeah, people were going to be all over us and it wouldn't be happening anymore. So again, we just got to look after our environment, and we've also got to keep an eye on others as well. It's something I'm thinking about this year. Is I don't want to be that preachy old dude on YouTube constantly going, "Oh, be careful," you know. It's down to us to point the way, and to just sometimes give people a reminder. So again, it's coming on to that time of year where I start using things like the gas cooker, start using things like the gasifier, you know. And as I say, it's a naked flame, but it's a controlled naked flame cook system. It makes it a bit safer. Um, yeah, yeah, it's just practical, isn't it? It's practical. We have to be careful on how we encourage others, and again, young people. I'm not saying all young people are daft, but young and impressionable people or impressionable people, probably a better way to put it, because there are as many people of my age that are daft as there are young people. Um, so it's just setting the standard, really. Hi, Janet. Hope you're good. Yeah, you had a good week. I liked your video. Yes, a little tiny tents. Did like that. Um, what we got down here? Let's come through the comments. I've got to keep up with the comments tonight. Outdoors apprentice say, Mick, we did it too, but the local Bobby would always come down and check on us. Yeah, the local Bobby. Don't see that anymore, do you? I can remember more than once, right? You're going to your dad. Oh, yeah, that was worse than anything else. The local Bobby. Bring back the local Bobby, and bring back the local Bobby that will grab you by the scruff of the neck, march you home, dump you in front of your parents, tell your parents they're paying for the damage you've caused. You know, I broke a window when I was about 14, and local Bobby was involved. And I'd already gone home and said to my dad, I broke a window at the neighbour's house. And he was like, right, fine, no problem. sent me back round there to apologise and explain to them that my dad would pay for the window to be replaced. And by the time I got home, local Bobby was there. And he was telling my father in no uncertain terms, you are responsible for your son till he's 18. Anything he does, you will pay for. So you will make sure that window's paid for. That's the way it was done then. It was, it was my fault. I did it. But my dad was responsible for me till I was 18. So he had to foot the bill. And that used to frighten the life out of me because I had a dad that did not like the policeman turning up on the doorstep. That was embarrassing to him and very, very annoying. So, I can promise you I did get probably hop round the garden a few times after that. 3 Dog Night Bushcraft evening, all mate. How you doing? Hope you're all good. EDC Patrol. Hi, Mike. How you doing? Hope you're good. Local Bobby played golf for your dad. Oh, there's no getting away with it for you then. Clip round the ear for a local Bobby. Yeah. And that was the thing, wasn't it? It was, hi, Sam. It was dealt with by the local Bobby. It was a clip round the ear roll. It was a lump upside the head. But not only that, the local Bobby knew everybody. He knew, our local Bobby knew absolutely everybody in the village. He knows whose dad was what, whose kids were whose, how the families were linked is what I'm trying to get. Excuse me, the brain's struggling a bit tonight. Whose kids, whose parents, and all the rest of it. He only had to glimpse you doing something naughty. He knew which house to go to. There was no running away and getting away with it. And the other thing is, people also for me, in a village and that, everybody knew everybody, even when I met Caroline, and she lived in what was at the time was known as the UK's largest village. Everybody knew her dad. Everybody knew her. Within days of me dating his daughter, people were saying to him, "Oh, Senor Caroline's got a new young man. Rides a motorcycle." He knew everything was going on. But though people look at it as it was a bad time, it wasn't. It was a good time. It was a safe time. It also meant like young kids were safe. We dealt with things. Yeah, I'm afraid Kaz isn't feeling so good tonight, so she's crashed out at the moment. If she feels up to join us later, she will, but I wasn't going to disturb her. We've had a rough couple of days, but a lot of stress and pressure on both of us, and especially for Kaz. So she's feeling a little bit rough. It's not fair on her, so I wasn't going to disturb her. I did say to her earlier on, I'm going to go up, be doing the video and a bit of fill up to it. And she sort of gave me a look and said, I'm not really feeling up to it. She said, I'll come up if you want me to, but I'm not up to it tonight. So, yeah, I'm afraid she's not here. So those of you that have come in purely to see Kaz, fine. If you want to bail, I understand. I won't take it hard on the chin. Cheers, Mary. Much appreciated. Yeah, Kaz will appreciate that. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Jess. Yeah, cheers, Stealth. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Andy, yeah, I know your parents was the only thing you used to hear from the local. Yeah, you didn't have to catch you. You could be legging it away. And I know there'd be 5 or 6 of you in the group, all different parents, and you knew that you'd spotted every one of you. You're all going to cop it. And I'll tell you another thing as a kid, it wasn't the punishment so much as fearing the punishment, if you know what I mean. I don't know how many of you ever got told when you were a youngster, wait till your old man gets home. Yeah. And it wasn't actually my old man getting home. It was the waiting. That was the punishment. That was the fear. That was the bit that got you. So it's quite interesting to see how things have changed these days. And I see they're now going to make it a criminal offence to smack children. Now, on that, I'm for that. Make it a criminal offence. Make it a criminal offence to brutalise your child, but the punishments and the smackings we got as a kid. I mean, no, my father never closed his fist to me. My father never knocked me off my feet. My father may have stung my backs and my legs or my arse once or twice with the back of his hand. I'm all for that. Standing in the corner, making you do something as a punishment. You know, I'd be like, right, okay, don't you've misbehaved. You won't behave. That's quite simple. You're not watching TV for the next 2 days, and what you're going to do is you're going to help me in the workshop, and I'd go out and help the old man in the workshop, and it would be you're sweeping up. Now he's finished sweeping up. I want all those tools lined up. Now, that was the sort of punishments that we tended to get more often than not in our generation. And those punishments reminded us, apart from the odd occasions where we really well and truly overstepped the mark, and then you knew you were in trouble. And I think that the punishment is not about the punishment, it's about the deterrent. It's the case that you're like, oh, I won't ever do that again. Oh, I won't even make that mistake again, or I won't lie about something, or I won't take something that's not rightly mine. So it teaches you those life lessons. Anyhow, it's getting a bit political tonight. I do apologise. I'll come off of that. I'll wind my neck in there. Mickey telling you all about his youth and how better it was. It wasn't better. It was just different. But discipline, yeah. Sticks, how you doing, mate? Hope you're good. Yeah, I'm good, brother. Simon, evening. How you doing, mate? Yeah, learning respect. Yeah, just learning respect. Sam, yeah, I know your situation, so it was very, very difficult for you, and my heart goes out to you because it's all right me talking about things like that, but you never got to experience that, and I am sorry for you, mate. And it must have been a really, really tough childhood for you. So yeah, that was that. Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult that was, bro. Um, Lee Michelle can't remember canings and whippings and punches, but I got, but by God, I remember. My brother, yeah, 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 exactly that. And the sort of punishments we got as kids remind us. I mean, I got the cane at school. Don't get me wrong. I got the cane, and I don't agree with that. I don't think anybody other than the parents should be allowed to put physical or physicality onto the children. That's down to the parents. That's their responsibility, not some old teacher or headmaster. That's very, very wrong. And I think that's where we get things confused in the modern world. Responsibility of the parents on how they discipline, how they educate their children. That's their position. They made that child. That's their job. And if they make a complete arse of it, yes, as I was saying before, then they're held responsible. If you raise a kid that's permanently breaking other people's windows, you're going to be paying for those windows. Um, yeah, different world, wasn't it? Different world. So I don't know if anybody saw Funky Prepper's video where he was camping in the spooky Boffy this week. I thought it was a good video, and I'm always saying to people, "Hiya, Foxy Lady." I'm always saying to people I don't like videos where people go out, "What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that?" But the way he'd done that video, let you know that it was going to be a spooky video. Now, I had to laugh a little bit because it bore me in mind of something that I had experienced myself years ago. Um, and Owen Life's a Hobby is going to have a video up later tonight, so it'll be worth watching. And he has a truly spooky experience. So I've got a bit of inside information on this. If you like things that are a bit weird, wonderful, spooky, you might like this video because he caught something very interesting on camera. But again, the issue came when you go to a bothy or a building, place, a woods, whatever, and you go there and somebody says to you before you arrive, that's the most haunted one in Britain, I guarantee you've preloaded your mind. If somebody said to you instead, you're going to stay in that old barn, bleeding things settling, it creaks like a good, and it rattles in the wind and all the rest of it, you'll sit there all night listening to those creaks, rattles, and all the rest of it, and your brain will go to you, it's just the wind. It's just an old building. Like the guy said, it creaks and rattles in the wind. You'll be quite relaxed with it. However, if you read up on it beforehand and it says most haunted barn in Britain, that creaky wind noise is going to suddenly sound like footsteps because your brain's preloaded. And this is something I would like to say to people. I've sort of come to realise that what we do on YouTube is about entertainment. Really, when you break it down, we make a video. We want people to see it. We want people to enjoy it. We want them to be entertained by it. Horror has never been a genre of mine. Okay, I've never really been into horror films. I like a good action. I like a good old fashioned squashbuckling. Yeah, I like all that sort of thing. Give me give me a bit of Pirates of the Caribbean, a bit of tongue in cheek adventure. I'll go for it. A bit of Expendables. It's all nonsense, but it's good old fashioned nonsense. It gets your brain off the modern world. Horror never really been one of my things. So I think for me, I'm realizing that in actual fact, I shouldn't be anti their videos because they're actually fulfilling a genre within YouTube. People like a scary thing. They like something that puts them a bit on edge. People like something that makes them jump. So those are good videos. The only thing I would ask of people that are doing things like that is if you're going to do that, let people know beforehand, you know, and try and keep it relatively sensible. Um, You know, it's again, you've got to find that line between what I try to do, which is encourage people to get outdoors, and putting people off being outdoors. I think that's what I'm trying to say is you gotta be a bit sensible with it. And I'm somebody that spent so much time outdoors. I know, especially here in the British Isles, I'm the biggest and ugliest thing that's going to be in that woods that night. I'm the scariest thing out there. There is nothing out there bigger, nastier, scarier, smellier than me in that woods at that time. So that's the way it goes. However, the question I do will put to friends of mine here that join us quite regularly, like Find Your Friends Island Jason, who lives in Vancouver. Now, Vancouver has a colony of black bear and it has cougar as well. So he genuinely goes out into a woods where there is something that could potentially be bigger, nastier, scary, a threat to him. But how does he deal with it? Does he walk around the woods all the time, constantly going, what's that? Or does it, is it truly as I see it, which he walks around, he knows the threat's there. He spotted bear scat the other day. He knows it's there. He knows they're there. He's alert for them, but they don't become an overwhelming fear. And that's what I think we need to do when we get outdoors, is not allow ourselves to become overwhelmed. It's we're only ever afraid of the things we don't know. Um, and I think if you experience stuff, then you will, or if you accept stuff's there and you experience it, you're nothing to be afraid of. And again, I'm not saying to people that there aren't spooky things out there because I've had my own share of experiences in this life that I cannot explain. Um, I have witnessed something that came back as recognised by the authorities as an unidentified flying object. Not only did I see it, thousands of others see it, and it actually shut down a major airport whilst the event was occurring. Um, I've been in I've been in places where there has been a hell of a lot of death, and I've experienced the atmosphere there. And I can tell you that can be a very very oppressive thing. Um, so again, it's how you deal with it, isn't it? There you go from Jason. Wearing my buddy boots into the house is more dangerous than our bears. Excellent. Yeah, it definitely is. It's not the dead you should be scared of; it's the living. Yeah. Evening, T. How you doing? Andy outside. A lot goes through in the mind. Yeah, so that is, it's again, it's what it's how you perceive what the world around you, isn't it? And some people are probably better connected to certain atmospheres, certain things. I mean, there's nobody on here that has not at some time found themselves somewhere, whether as a kid or an adult, where you've just felt uncomfortable. You can't explain it, can't put your finger on it, you can't pinpoint it. You just feel it's yeah, like I don't want to be here. and you up and leave. Okay, so that's the way that tends to work. I'm very much. Oh, I say at times, I'm getting trust your instincts. If I go into a place or go into an environment and there is something that I can't put my finger on, but my brain is saying to me, no, not here. Let's move on, get out of here. Then I do, because it might not be a ghost. It might not be a predatory animal. It may be my nose has picked up on a faint smell of wood smoke, the sound of people. It may have picked up on some other form of threat, be it branches, overheads, whatever. Your subconscious is brilliant at reading the world around you. Your subconscious is going all the time, and it picks up on millions of things a second that you are not aware of with your consciousness. And your subconscious it's your early warning system. It's your radar, and it's something that you should always trust. Funny things. I ran into a pack of wolves on a remote beach once. I was generally concerned, but it wouldn't stop me from going back there. Exactly. Yeah, you go back. You're better informed, better equipped, and you make a bit of sense. Otherwise, you'd never go, do you? You'd never go out. In the 16, 17, 1800s, the explorers that set off into the wildernesses, okay, they knew they were going to come across things. They knew they were going to come across animals, um, other people that were going to be a threat to them, but it didn't stop them going and exploring. You can't allow that to hold you back. See, very good, very good. Simon, yeah, Sixth Sense, yeah. That's it, and it's a case. Your sixth sense can go. It doesn't have to make you afraid. It's just accept it for what it is. It's an early warning system. It's a radar. Yeah, yeah. Jess, I remember the video well, and you did exactly the right thing. And that, exactly that. It's if you feel there's a threat, don't hang around for the threat. Getting more scared of walking past the kebab shop at 11 than walking through the hills woods. Yeah, definitely. I'm the same. I'm not a town person. I've been a doorman for years. I've seen the best and worst in people. And yeah, I don't want to be. A town makes me more uncomfortable. Crowds make me uncomfortable. Took Kaz shopping on Saturday, and yeah, I was actually thinking about it was uptown because it was heaving, and it was just like your brain's going on constant. What's the threat? What's the issue? What do we do? I've got a wife who's on a mobility scooter, so I'm constantly assessing things like in the event of a panic, a fire, a problem, an issue. How am I going to look after her? How am I going to get her out? How am I going to keep her safe? Yeah. I also take in other things I'm moving around. It's constantly aware of my surroundings. So I'm also picking up on the little old lady over there in her 90s. The little kid that's looking lost over there, wondering where its parents are. You know, and again, you're constantly assessing what's going on around you. It's something to teach your mind. It's not something that comes 100% natural, but I spent years having to teach myself to um, look for threats, risks, and dangers, and that has never switched off. So it's now in the civilian world, or in my world now, it just adapts slightly. So I can get a bit of that. I get a little bit of that overload, and sometimes it can become a bit too much. Like, I just need to get out of it. And I'll say to Kaz, let's just go and find somewhere quiet for a minute. Let's go sit down and let myself reset. Um, just so does I one time, yeah, tea. Cheers, Sticks. Sticks is out there doing his posting thing. Brilliant man that he is. Where I was catch up. Sussex done a video on spring edibles this week. Brilliant, brilliant. So I'll have a look at that tonight. Sussex, well done for doing spring edibles. Bushcraft Sussex, more people. Yeah, it's funny. Outdoors people tend to be like that, much safer 10 miles deep in the hills. Yeah, definitely. Glastonbury Festival, yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, done the security on that one. Yeah, that was a nightmare. Glad Mac never took the next year's contract. Uh, Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Funny for Zion, Jason. The noticing will continue until conditions improve. Will definitely, definitely. Um, Overload hypervigilance. Yes, hypervigilance. Yeah, yeah. It's something that you could teach yourself, or gets taught, or you get trained to use. And hypervigilance can become a bit of a bugbear. You have to turn it into a tool, and you have to control it. Again, indoor work, it was brilliant for me. That hypervigilance, you constantly assessing sounds, noises, looking for the threat. Where's the agitation? Where's the group? Where's the movement? If you're stood in a nightclub and you're stood slightly higher, so people's heads are down here, and I'm looking out across 500 heads in a packed room, and there becomes a rhythm. There becomes a natural rhythm in the movement of the people because of the music. They're all dancing a bit weird, but there is a naturalness in it. And then all of a sudden, you'll see in a corner there's a break to that rhythm. Something happens. It might go still, or it might just suddenly start working completely outside or against that rhythm, and that's one that will then draw your attention. There's an issue there, and it might not necessarily be a fight or something aggressive. It could be something as simple as somebody's dropped their contact lenses, but you pick up on it, and then that starts your heading over to sort the problem out. So again, yeah. Oh, right, let me give a swig of my beer. No, Sticks Outdoors and Bushcraft hasn't deleted his channel. He's just become Sticks. Um, yeah, he's still got the same tag, but he is Sticks, and it's perfect. I keep trying to think how I can shorten mine up. Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. I keep having to write things down, and it's just a pain in the arse. So I'm just chuckling at some of the comments on bow drill. Yeah, bow drill. Oh, we're not even going to discuss that tonight. We're not even going to go there. I'll tell you what I have been doing. I took a suggestion that somebody gave me this week in a comment on MREs, and yeah, I've been out yesterday. I decided to set myself the target of building my own MRE. Yes, so I'll do a video on that this week. Excuse me, coughing. So I'm putting together an MRE from a pound shop, so it's all cheap stuff. 24 hours, so 3 main meals, plus sundries, plus bits and pieces. And I also, alongside that, I've done what I would call pretty much like a patrol pack, something sweet or simple that you could take out for an 8-hour, 12-hour session and will keep you going. I've also got a couple of items which I managed to pick up cheaply that I've actually, when I looked into it, went, do you know what? Those would be worth having in your pack every day. And they were, one of the things was I managed to pick up a tube of the electrolyte tablets, the body fuel ones. Picked those up quite cheap. They were £2 for a tube. Not something you want to take every day. Looking at the setup. However, though, if you were looking at something thrown in your kit to give you electrolytes, if you suddenly find yourself on a hard tab, pushing your body hard, that's a good way to go. And in setting out this 24-hour ration pack, I started off going very, very deep, and I pulled back from that. So I've also set in my mind, you're already going to have your cook system, you're already going to have your water, and you're probably going to have your spoon. So I've not put those 3 items in the box because, again, also, depending where you are in the world, you've probably already got your system or know your system or have a system sorted. Yeah. So let's go back to the comments. Have a look through. Derek, yeah, Kaz isn't feeling so good tonight. We've had a pretty shocking 3 days. We got a bit of a nasty surprise, and it set us both back a bit. So Kaz has had a really stressful couple of days. Been really going through the mill. She's fine health wise. Chewbacca is curled up with her, so she's crashed out on the sofa. She might join us if she feels up to it later, but I've told her not to panic if she doesn't. It's just that she's had a bit of a, or yeah, it's yeah. I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, it's just a bit of a shocker, bit of a situation. Um, I tried to string suggestion and get to grips with it. Yeah, that hand drill. Yeah, Jess, I hate hand drill. It's a peg of a thing. One thing I have learned over the years, it's also plant reliant. So say plant reliant. There are plants that are better than others. For bow drill and hand drill, if you live anywhere where there's yucca plants growing wild naturally, or somewhere you can forage them from, they make an absolutely brilliant either half or um, drill. It's a wood that will, or they're a plant that will make an ember very easily. Um, yeah, yeah. Trying to get that ember, it's a nightmare doing it by hand. It really is. It's a real struggle. Real struggle. It's a struggle. Mm. Oh, and yeah, just to let you know, yes, Mickey is drinking beer. Yes, Mickey did say to you, he's not a lager man, but I don't mind a cerveza. Desperados, yeah, it's not. That's one of my favourite summer drinks. Although I will say, I know tomorrow I will have a headache. It's one of those that gives me a bit of a thumper, but I'll rehydrate. But I just wanted to treat myself. Treat myself. Mm. Jesse, you've been trying. Have you started this? No updates. So, Andy, so it's not summer yet. I know. It's a bit of a letdown today, wasn't it, Andy? God, we've had a yeah, we had about a week of glorious weather, and then all of a sudden it just comes back and gives you a slap. Welcome to United Kingdom's weather. It's just as you think it's getting good, it reverses gear. Simon's drinking tea. Right. Oh, I'll get it out there whilst we're here. The reason we've had a bit of a shocker because Lee's asking and he knows, and I know there's a couple of people already sort of have no idea, but so last year I got diagnosed with a shadow on one of my lungs, which was a bit of a worry. That was before the kidney, and it was because of that they found the kidney cancer. That shadow, I've been having regular scans, and every time they measure it, and what they're looking for is it getting any larger? They're not going to do a biopsy or anything invasive unless it's showing that it's getting larger because of the lifestyle I've led and the environments I've been in. It's quite possibly scarring or something that's collected in my lung. It could even be from the blacksmithing for years, things like iron filings. Okay, so there's no way of telling. I've been managing with it. It hasn't been an issue. It's not been a drama. We've got the kidney cancer sorted out. Touched wood, all's good there. And I went out to do a walk this week and got caught by breathlessness. I couldn't. I literally ended up. The round trip was 3 kilometers, and I come back hanging out on my backside. And I couldn't get my breath. I actually got back to the car and could not get my breathing back. Very similar to an asthma attack, which gave us a bit of a scare. I came home, remained breathless for hours. I was having trouble just getting the oxygen levels up. And so Kaz phoned the doctor. The doctor was really good. Get your ass down here the following day. Following day, went down there. He went through my records, had a listen, all the rest of it, and just went, right, I'm making you an appointment now. I want you up the hospital. I'd got the hospital and have a scan done. And it's just set us back a bit. It was that whole concern, the worry, the fear. It's just a bit of a slap in the face. It's come back. It was a shocker for me because I've never been caught like that before with my breathing, and it gave us a bit of a scare. Um, COPD has not been ruled out. Um, and it was very similar. I'd say cross COPD. So I'm getting short breath again. Cross COPD, cross asthma attack. It was like that asthma attack. I'm breathing, but it's not actually doing anything. Or that's how it felt. Um, got through it. Lucky enough, my training and that really, really helped there. I was able to get myself settled, calm. And it's another great thing with first aid training. I was able to do simple oxygen or oxygen level tests on my own body that told me, although you're feeling like crap, you're not dying. Don't panic. Because again, in these sorts of situations, the most important thing is to get the brain to overwhelm or override that whole panic thing. Sit down, deal with the situation. It's like being bitten by a snake. You get tagged by a snake. Your first instinct is, holy hell, I've been bitten by a snake. You start going into flat mode. And the most important thing you can actually do is just sit down, relax, calm down, drop that blood pressure, right? Try and let your body deal with it, get help. And that's what I had to do. So, yeah, first aid training again came into its own. And I say to anybody, go out, get yourself on a course, get yourself to learn some basic techniques. And if you can't get on a course on that, go onto YouTube. Okay. There are some very, very good paramedics out there doing some really, really good videos on self checks, self management, and that. So again, it's hi Benny, how you doing, brother? It's been able to do things like that help you deal with the initial problem. Um, and it's a setback. It's a real kick in the proverbials because I was working towards the YMA, and I might as well say it tonight. The YMA's been cancelled. The lads, bless them, and I appreciate their thought processes. There is the fact that um, I'm not going to be physically capable of doing it, and it's something that the three of us want to complete together. So it's been put off for the moment. It's been put off until I'm sorted and we can get together again, plan to do it again, and have that event. Doesn't mean people aren't still training. As soon as I can, I want to get back out and start working on that physicality because that's going to also help. Um, it's just got to figure out what this problem was. Now it might not. Tests might come back. It might not be anything to worry about. It might have been maybe I don't know. An allergic reaction could cause it. Hay fever can cause it. It may be. I had asthma as a kid. It may have been an asthma attack. Although I've not had an asthma attack in 45, 50 years. So there's lots of things. But whatever it is, it's just a matter of figure it out, manage it, deal with it, and we'll come out the other side. The camp is the camp is definitely still on. Okay, the camp is definitely happening no matter what. That is still on. So don't. Yeah, the camp is still occurring. Um, there is no. I've waited long and hard to have another camp. I wanted to do one back in February and wasn't able to. The camp is happening. If they have to tie my corpse to a tree, the bloody camp is happening. So, right. So, Jess, yes, next camp is May the 16th to the 18th. Okay, so it's Friday the 16th of May through to the Sunday. That's the next camp, and there will be another one in July. So I'm trying to work with the guys at the moment to do one in July. So that will be the one after that. So, um, so yeah, we will be pushing on with that. We will. Yeah, the camp will be occurring. I can't wait. That's yeah, it's going to be good fun. We'll be up the woods having a giggle. Um, yeah, asthma inhalers. Yeah, that was one of the things I signed to the doctor. They're going to look at getting me a inhalator just in case I need to get some antihistamines or anything into my lungs to open up those airways a little bit. But we want to do first of all is figure it out. The results are being rushed through. Should be back by Tuesday, so we'll know where we're going on from Tuesday. Outdoors, I don't have any ideas fully on the numbers yet, Kiwi. We're pretty much we're probably looking hopefully for about 15. Yeah, maybe 20. That would be nice. Might be 5. I don't know. But it's if I move my arse over, there we go. The emails are any of you that are interested in coming to the camp. Okay, it's down here in Hampshire. It's 5 miles from Aldershot. Is the location. If you send me an email to that email address up there, the lovely Kaz will email you back and she will give you all the details. I'm not putting the details out, too many details out, as you're aware, on YouTube, purely and simply because it's an organised thing. I do have to be aware of the numbers, do want to know who's coming. If I start putting out the location and stuff like that on YouTube, that's potentially thousands of people that can see it, and out of that thousands that see it, there might be 1 or 2 that maybe not quite as respectful and decent about things. And it's always annoying when you have to get the wood chipper out, grease it up, fire it up. It hasn't been used in a long time. Yeah, it was just cheers, Lee. It was exactly that. We've just got over one major issue, which was obviously quite a period, and all of a sudden got slapped with that. And it might be just me overreacting. I'm really got my fingers crossed that I'm going to go see the doc, and he's going to go, you know what, you got a bit of hay fever or you got a bit of asthma. They're going to give you one of these. Deal with it. Deal with it. But there's always just that little bit in the back of the mind. I never thought. We all think we're indestructible, and all of a sudden something happens. You go, hello, Willow. Come on in. Come on in. Oh, Willow's come up to say hello. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's had his hair cut. He's looking all handsome, fit, fine, and funky. Yeah, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, so he's so tired. He's been up so much today. He's been so busy, haven't you, Willow? Yeah, little black-eyed fairy. Got the brightest buttons for eyes in almost anything I've ever seen, haven't you? Yes. Yes, there's a little doggy trapped inside the TV screen. Right, you'll go see Mum. Go on then. There you go. There you go. That's Willow. He's all good. Yeah, Lee, as we get older, things do tend to affect us a little bit more. Our bodies just slow down, don't they? It's things that you'd have had when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s and brushed them off. Tend to take a little bit longer to deal with. Oh, yeah, so let's have a look through it. Bill, hiya, Bill. Yeah, Bill, exactly. I agree with you there, mate. It's the not knowing, it's the waiting, and it doesn't matter how confident you try to be, how sensible and practical you try to be, and how many times people say to you, "Don't worry about it," until you actually get told what it is. It's always there, isn't it? It's the back of your mind, and it through most of the day. I got my cancer diagnosis, and it didn't really bother me. Truthfully, the diagnosis didn't really bother me for 23 hours of the day. There's a little period just before you put your head on the pillow. That's when it would bug me. That's when the brain would start going over it. I kept myself busy the rest of the time. I knew it was there. I knew it was an issue. And I also was sensible enough to realise what the risks, what the threats, excuse me, to take nicotine pouch out, what the possible outcomes could be. But again, I'd stayed confident. And I think positive mental attitude is a really powerful thing. I think having a good positive mental attitude will always help you through most situations. But yeah, there is always that little bit of time every day where you're suddenly sitting there and my one for me was just after Christmas. I couldn't see my granddaughter. I remember looking out the window one day, and you get weird thoughts. Like, you just looked out the window and sat there, looked out, and went, "Oh, is this my last Christmas? Is this what the last Christmas was going to be like?" It's quite a sobering thought when it happens. However, yeah, you've got to talk about problems. You've got to get through them. You've got to share them where possible. And not everybody in friends and family are always up to dealing with your problems and issues. I got a couple of friends that have, in the last few years, lost people through cancer. And the last thing they wanted to hear was I had been diagnosed. It made it difficult for some people to talk to me. Some people didn't know what to say. People want to be your friend; they want to be positive, but it's hard, and I get that. Sometimes you have to accept the fact that there would be friends that you suddenly don't see for a little while, and it's not that they don't care; it's probably that they care too much, and it hurts them. And the human being's defense system is to withdraw. Um, but yeah, that's the way it works. Oh, Benny, thank you very much, brother. I know that, and I really appreciate it. This, and that was the thing for me. One of the best things for me was the community. You guys dragged me through it. You gave me a reason every Sunday to be doing something. You gave me a reason to think about things. You gave me videos to watch. Um, those first 3 or 4 days after the operation, I'll be honest with you now. I know I did a couple of videos going, "Yeah, I'm all right, I'm all right." I tell you what, pain, bloody hell. I felt like somebody I'd given birth through my belly button. It was painful. I didn't want to move. And so watching people's videos, because you're stuck there. I'm not a very good rester. I'm one of these people. I normally go to sleep when I'm tired, and I wake up as soon as I'm rested. So to spend hours and hours and hours laying there on medications that made you feel a little bit spaced anyhow, the videos kept me going, and that yeah, the community, the videos, yeah, it was brilliant for me. It really pulled me through it. Um, it is. It's looking forward to seeing other people's videos, and one of the other things about looking forward to seeing other people's videos is you're all friends. You make friends this way. We're all buddies, and so you're like, "What's Jason up to today? What's he doing? What's Sticks doing? Is Owen going up his mountain? Has he got his little dog with him? How's his little dog? We all become linked into one another's lives. We might not have met, but we're linked like mycelium, like fungi. Our might be hundreds of miles apart, but us little toadstools are all connected by that mycelium of YouTube. That's a bit. Might have to write that down. Hey, Mick is becoming a bit of a philosopher. Um, the mycelium of YouTube. Famalam, definitely. Um, it is kitten. It is. Yeah, it is a solid crowd. And again, people have said to me, "Oh, you could build your YouTube channel a lot faster because if you did this, and this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but then you end up with 100,000 people that aren't really interested. They're watching to see my breasts. Why? I'm not going to do that. So I'd rather build my channel slowly, steadily, smaller numbers, and just ignores him. And in a way that means I'm making genuine contact with people, and that's what it's all about. It's make friends, make contact, same sense of humor. We're all different. There are people here from all over the world, all over the country. We've got all race, creeds, colours, sexualities, religions, and that really doesn't come into it because we're just the names on there. And if we take all that crap out of it and just get down to the human beings that we all are, then the world's a brilliant place. Oh, cheers, Jason. Yeah, I often question myself about how I'm doing it. Bill's going to have, next time you're feeling anxious, you're going to practice the bow drill. I tell you, the bow drill, again, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the bow drill, anybody that's done the bow drill will understand what I'm saying about that. It's a great lesson in frustration, perseverance, and the day, the moment, the second you get that ember, you'll never ever forget, because it's not something, unless you're very lucky, you'll crack first time. And there's a lot of trial and error in it. There's a lot of methodology in it. There's quite a system to it, but it is a lesson in frustration and perseverance. And do you know what? Challenges like that make us stronger, make us better. The harder it is to do something and learn something, the more you get, more the reward, more the psychological reward is when you do achieve it. I like that, Owen. The Sunday socials are a great place for people to share new or old ideas. Sunday social at Mix is a crossroads between the post office and the pub. Like that. Yeah. El Croc, yeah, mycelium. We're all mushrooms on this giant football earth. Yeah, exactly. We are. We are. Yeah. It's no. So Kitten, you'll see Kitten is definitely not a bow drill man. He is definitely not a bow drill man, and it's one of those things. Give it a go. Give it a go. If you want to try it, try it. Like I say, it's when you get the only tip. I'm only going to give you one tip, and it's the one thing that caught me out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that is when you get your ember, don't blow on it. I was getting embers, and now I'm a flint and steel man, so getting an ember onto a piece of char cloth or a bit of fungi, and then it's all about the blowing. It's about getting that oxygen in there. When you first get that ember and it's just starting in your material, right? Just leave it alone. Back off from it, let it grow. It's such a weak ember. If you blow on it, you're invariably going to blow it out. The technique that I found worked best was just literally a gentle waft like that with your hand, and it creates just the slightest movement of air. Any more than that, and yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I looked down and went, got an ember, got an ember. Why did it go out? Why did it go? And I just could not fathom it. Why is it coming out? What did I dribble on it? What did I do? Yeah, as Lee Michelle saying, build up loads and loads of dust. Yeah, yeah. Three Dog Night is all about condition and the timber. Yeah, and the timber, and that also, when we're looking at it worldwide, isn't it? It's what timbers are available to you. What's the condition of the timbers? Okay, there are some timbers that will not. Well, no, there is no timber that won't create an ember, but there are some timbers where creating that ember is going to be so much hard work, it's not a feasible option. Okay, so you've got to try and work out, but it's, yeah, as Sticks was saying there, just let it grow. Yeah, Kitten Killer, agree with you there. Yeah, flint and steel for me all day long. Flint and steel, love flint and steel. And again, when you look at it in history, for the majority of the northern hemisphere, um, it was where you had flint, where you had chert, where you had something that you could strike and you create a spark off a piece of iron pyrite. So pretty much we're talking from a Stone Age period through. People learned how to char things like punk wood. They learned how to char fungi or use fungi and so on, because it's quicker, it's easier. Friction fire would have probably been the earliest form of fire, but we very quickly learned that there were quicker and easier methods. And that flint and steel was something we carried as a standard right up until the mid to late 1800s. Um, Fire tins, fire boxes, flint and steel, it was there. Even when you looked at weaponry, musketry, and things like that, it was all based on flint and steel. We understood and learned how to produce the sparks and how to make the sparks better, capture the spark, and use the spark. So that's why flint and steel comes to mind for me. And again, it's about just putting that spark into something that will take the ember. Jason, just practice, mate. I'm going to send you out your bits of flint. I fired you off an email, so yeah. Basically, what we'll do, we'll got you a couple of bits of flint. Actually, when I was at Hawley Woods, picked them up, put them in my bag here. So let's. So I picked up a couple of bits of flint. I was actually walking around keeping an eye open for bits of flint specifically for you. And obviously, I'm going to be sending it abroad, so it's flint smuggling. So I don't know how we're going to get on. But basically, you got that nice piece of flint there, which actually, one of the things was when I picked it up, it fitted my hand. So I was like, that's nice, and that's got a nice edge on it there. And it sparks nice. And there's another piece of flint there, which I picked up for you. There. So they will be wending their way over to you out there in Vancouver Island, because obviously you haven't got any flint. So that will give you something you can have a bit of a practice and a play with. And again, flint and steel. So depends where you were, doesn't it? If you were in an environment that had no flint and steel, so if you lived in North Africa on the Saharan plains, flint and steel? Nah, not going to have flint and steel. What little bit of wood you could find is probably going to be very, very dry. So friction fire. So again, it's all down to the environment to play. Sure. Hi Mac, how you doing, mate? Yeah, it is very light. So that's quite a nice piece of dark flint. It hasn't got too many veins in it. And then you get the browner, more like chert really, flint like that. So, and again, so our ancestors, somebody once said to me, oh yeah, but how did they figure it out? I said, well, do you know what? They probably walked along picking stones up going, that one makes sparks, I'll keep that one, you know. That one doesn't, that one doesn't, that one doesn't, that one doesn't. And it's not the other thing to remember is it's not the flint that's actually sparking, it's the steel. Okay, it's the iron pyrite, it's the friction, it's the shaving off of microscopic pieces of steel and the friction causing them to ignite and oxidize as they come off. That's your spark. So it's really more about finding a stone that is harder than the steel. So you can go with, it's not just flint. There are quite a few other types of stone that will have that same effect. And in actual fact, if you've got two pieces of steel and you've got one high carbon and one even higher carbon, and you strike them together, you can make sparks that way. It's very difficult to do, but it can be done. And then just capturing the spark. It's all about capturing the spark. Quartz, yeah, quartz will do it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, flint on flint, flint on iron pyrite, which is difficult. Difficult. My friend Lee Roberts, he's a gentleman that introduced me to that, and it is a very weak spark. It's a low temperature spark. The brighter the spark, the higher the temperature, the faster the burn. But because it's a high temperature, it will ignite your char cloth, your material, a lot quicker, a lot easier. Yeah, yeah. Quartz field spar. Yeah. Carbonized. Yeah. I started a fire with an oxo cube and a mushroom. No worries, Jason. I'll get those off to you. Yeah, and again, it gives you it's as I was saying to Jason on his live. The thing I'd be interested in doing there is trying to contact the First Nations people that are indigenous to that area, and see if you can find somebody amongst them who's prepared to teach you their techniques. The indigenous peoples from wherever you are in this world or wherever you're going, they're your masters. They're the people that have lived with these techniques for generations, and in some cases they're losing these techniques and methods. Um, so you tend to find that the those that are trying to keep it alive in the community, which invariably, not always, but invariably tend to be the older people, they're quite keen to share with outsiders. They want to keep this knowledge alive. They want to share it. So it's Elcroc, very good. Human history, the quest for better rocks to bang together. Uranium proves my point. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. The quest for fun. I like that. That's really, really good. I've never tried it with glass. I too have heard that glass can work, but it's again, so one of the tips I will say to you is when you're working your flint steel, one of the things anytime you're working flint, you've got to be prepared to be cut. Okay. It's very easy to slice yourself with this stuff. And so going to glass, which is even more brittle, is again one of those things to be aware of. When I'm teaching people, invariably I tell them to wear gloves. Although I don't, I tell them to wear gloves purely and simply because I have in the past done that, and it's just knocked a shard off underneath because your hands wrap around it. You don't realise until you notice you're putting blood on everything. It is that sharp; it will cut you. You won't even notice it. John Kennedy got a bigger problem. Get a bigger rock. Oh yeah. As me and Jason were doing Jason was doing a catering and I was doing a survival talk for a group of people that came from, I won't say the company, but one of the sort of top 10 companies worldwide, massive company, and they come on a team building. And what we didn't realise, one of the senior managers is there on team building. It was a diversity, equality, and a woke meister basically. And I'm doing fire lighting, so I've got the fire all prepped up in the pit, and I've got the flint and steel, and I've got the piece of char, and I've got my spark, caught my char, took the char, bent it down over my piece of grass, and got it up, and blowing on it like that, and it warmth burst into flames, and I dropped it into the pit, and then both at exactly the same time, I looked up at Jason, and both me and him both started going straight out of 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, man creates fire, that great evolutional moment, and we reenacted it, and we thought it was hilarious. But when we stopped, as this group of people just stood there like that, and you could see that a lot of them got it. They've seen 2001 Space Odyssey, or at least understood the reference we're making. Man makes fire, the great evolutional jump. The woke meister was not impressed. Thought it was very wrong, very, very wrong of us, and did not think it was very, very funny. Um, I don't know what they thought we were doing, but there we go. That evolutional step for man, that moment that man came out of the cave and could make fire for the first time and repeat making that fire. That was our first step into the evolutionary climb that's brought us to where we are today. And I think that's why, and I, Janet, take care. I think that's why we are so in tune, especially outdoors people, in tune with fire. That's why if you light a fire, 20 people will stand around it straight away. There's an instinct that says to you it's a safe place to be. It shouldn't be. All other mammals will run from it. But human beings have learned over thousands of years, and well, many tens of thousands of years, generations, that fire means you're safe. That fire means you're warm. That fire means your food is cooked, your water's clean, you are safe. And I think that's one of the reasons, as I said, fire is sacred. It's one of the reasons we're so drawn to it. Look at ceremonies and art forms around the world. Look at how many of them involve fire. Look at the fire point. Look at how the Polynesians, um, display with fire. It's so important to us, and it's ingrained. It's deep in there. It was our first true tool, I think. Yeah, quite possibly finding meat after a forest fire. Actually, finding carcasses that have been in the forest fire. That might have been the start of that, or it was just they were sitting around the fire keeping warm. Og fumbled, dropped his bit of lump of mammoth into the fire. Fought to get it out for a couple of minutes, singeing the hairs on the back of his hand. Eventually got it out, picked it up, bit into it, and all the others were laughing. And he bit into it and went, oh, oh. And that's how it evolves, doesn't it? Accidents. Beards definitely don't like fire. Yeah. Beard's coming on. So it's coming on. I want to get it down to about here, so I can get my old damaged, wonky face heading up, trim my beard, make myself look a bit more symmetrical again. And Burger King was born. Yeah, Bushcraft Sussex, those Aztecs were strange old lads. Jason, yeah, I'm the same, Jason. I pick up bits of flint and smell them. Fire. Man make fire. Woman make fire. We or human make fire, I should say. Fire at substation at Heathrow. Yeah, that was a hell of a thing. That was right. Now, whilst I've got all your attention, so Life's a Hobby is going to be putting up a video later on tonight. Spooky occurrence in the woods. Go there or be square. Have a look at it. He's genuinely, 100%. I will say to you this now. Found something very, very spooky and caught it on camera. Okay, go watch it. Quite interesting, quite fascinating. And it gets back to that whole thing of how we preload our brains as well. If somebody says to you, oh, you're going to sleep in the haunted room, every sound you hear in that haunted room will make you go. If somebody says to you, oh, you're sleeping in the creaky old room tonight, yeah, whenever the wind blows, the roof rattles a bit. It'll drive you up the wall, but there we go. You'll sleep soundly. Preloading the brain. Yeah. And again, as Owen said, it takes a lot to make him scared. Me, super confident in the woods. I have been in places in this world, in environments where I have suddenly gone, do you know what? I'm not feeling 100%. I'm not happy with this. I don't know what it is. I'm not happy here. I want out. I've moved a mile or two away, and my brain just goes, no, you're right now. And I trust it. I trust it because I think our brains can pick up on so many small things. There you go, door cams. There's a lot of spooky things occurring, especially in the night view. Yeah, there's all sorts of wonderful stuff out there that we've not even come across yet. That one day we will sit and look at and go, yeah, you know what? That's such and such, or that's caused by this, or that's caused by that. We're not that clever. We haven't really. I mean, you think about our evolutionary period. So 30,000 years. For 30,000 years, we pretty much walked around in skins, right? Trapping, hunting, foraging for 30,000 years. And then just for the last, not much more than a couple of thousand years, really, we've become steadily more civilized. And then only in the last 250 years, 300 years possibly, have we taken this leap to where we are now. How do I think the fire started at a substation at Heathrow? I have no idea. However, I do know that planet Earth was hit by a solar flare at the right time. However, it might not have been. It could be anything from I don't know, mechanical failure. It could be somebody had done something naughty. It could have been an attack of some sort. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not a big one on conspiracies. I'm a fact man. It's one of those things. I don't think there will be theories put forward, but nobody's going to be able to say 100% unless they were actually there at the time when it went whoop. It's one of those difficult things, isn't it? Stuff can be hidden. It could be hidden for all sorts of reasons. It could be down to the electrical supplier going, "Oh, we fucked up there. We put the wrong bloody fuse in. We'll make it look like this, that, or the other." You don't know, and we probably never will know. The only thing I will say about the Heathrow fire, it just goes to prove that I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but here in the UK, it's time for a bit of modernisation. Come on, one of the biggest pieces of British infrastructure, right? It brings in millions of pounds a year, a day. Trade, business, flights, not just people on holidays, goods, you name it, all through there. And it comes to a stop because its power supply is going off. It's almost like somebody pulled the plug out. Why has it not got some sort of system set up, fail-safe system that means when that plug is pulled, it can keep operating, even if it's just for a limited time, say 6-8 hours or whatever. Why is it just so reliant on that one plug and fuse? It's a bit silly, really. But then nothing gets invested in, does it? Nothing gets managed properly. Everything gets privatized. Everything comes down to how much profit can we make? Do we need to sort this out, sort that out? You got to look at water in the UK. We've got some of the greatest rivers in the UK. We've got the River Test, one of the greatest trout river in the world, where fly fishing was invented, where people spend thousands and thousands of pounds to come and fish this so-called immaculate pure trout stream that is polluted by sewage runoff. We have all the other waterways in the UK polluted by sewage runoff. Why? Because the population's got bigger. But not just because the population's got bigger, you can't blame it on that. It's because water companies have been taking the money and the shareholders have been having a fine old time on it rather than put the money back into sorting the problem out. With science, technology, and the way we are today, surely we're in an evolutionary stage with technology and that if we put our heads to it, why can't we sort that out? I had another person get hold of me today who showed me an interesting report that was saying in the next 10 years, we are going to be in permanent drought in the south, and they're on about limiting our water supply. Okay. Why? You had the answer to that in the 1700s, the 1800s. We have an excess of water in parts of the UK. Why do we not have a canal network or a river network, man-made, admittedly, that can move it from one end of the country to the other? Why not create? I've always had this thought. Why not, up the spine of the United Kingdom, have a man-made river with various offshoots, which would then feed reservoirs, lakes, canals, waterways, all the way down the spine of the United Kingdom, right? So that you can move water north and south. Why not do that? Surely that's got to be a better step Not only that, you've now created an environment that's great for the wildlife. You've created um, recreational water. You've created a system where you could move things that we've struggled. I've seen it recently here, moving scanners from one side of the country to the other in lorries, having to shut whole towns down because the lorries are too big to get through the towns, so that they could take up both lanes. Well, you've got a waterway that you could build to take things like that. Why can't we take a step back and look at what our Victorian relations did and actually improve on that? And now we'd have a way of shipping water, and it's not going to be cheap. It's not easy. And yes, I know I'm thinking north to south, water runs downhill. Yes, there's hills, valleys, mountains, peaks, ground terrain changes. But our Victorian relatives dealt with that through locks, weirs, and systems. Why can't we? I'm far happier seeing the £30 billion that's going to be spent on another runway at Heathrow being spent on something like that. You know, yeah, there you go, Wales. So do you have to go all the way to Scotland? No, not necessarily. You go to Wales, but if you link the whole thing, think about it as an infrastructure, and then looked at using waterways for shipping things, and we're getting good with solar panels now. So if you take a barge, say a 40 foot or 70 foot long barge, and you put solar panels on the roof of that, and you had an electric motor and battery system, is it another way of hauling things? A bit more environmentally friendly, possibly. It's definitely better than electric cars. Yeah. So just an idea. Don't know what you think. Maybe me talking out my backside, but it's yeah, 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 definitely better than HS2. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, yeah. Out Kiwi, exactly that infrastructure. No, they don't. They're all quite happy to take our pennies and tell us that we've got to cut back on the services they provide us. Well, yeah, the money needs to be spent the right way. We've taken a step back rather than forward. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bushcraft Sussex. You imagine it. As an infrastructural thing, and I'm not talking about a 10 foot wide canal like we see left over from the Victorian period. You're talking about something that could be, you know, 60, 70 feet wide, deep lined. The jobs that would create in actually building it, uh, the money that would be raised in revenue on building it. If the Americans could build the Panama Canal, and admittedly, yes, at a huge loss of life and a huge expense, we don't have quite the risks here. Why couldn't we build something infrastructure like that? Yeah, as Kittenker said, there's no canals between Glasgow and Leeds. Yeah. Derek, exactly the same thing, mate. Yeah, you test drive the new VW ID electric bus. Cool, but just blah. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same myself. So I had the real luck of driving that electric 4x4, and it's the first one of its kind. It's a Czech company and really thought about this. And yes, they're guys into electric, but they're actually sensible in their approach. And rather than trying to make it 100% electric, it's got a mechanical gearbox, it's got mechanical axles, drives, everything's manual at that point. The only thing that changes is the motor. So you've got all your ratios, your gear selection, the whole lot, which made it a lot more controllable. Um, I've just recently driven the updated version, and one of the things that we've been involved in helping them research it, test it, or so no, I haven't. People I know have. One of the things was hill descent. So being able to use the engine for braking, because it was electric. So as you start going downhill, of course, what we want to do is run away. and we took that back to them, and they've come back with a regen braking system. So as soon as you go downhill and it starts to run away, what it does, it uses the motor to regen, and that acts as a brake. So basically, like putting your vehicle into low first, taking your feet off everything, and then using the engine brake to go down the hill, works the same way. Absolutely very clever. Don't think it's there yet. Don't think it's cracked it. However, I still say that electric 4x4, if you were a farmer and you're doing sub 50 miles, it's got 120-mile range, but they're saying, if you're doing sub 50 miles a day around your farm or around your estate or where they've already supplied it, which is to people like the Forestry Commission, for rangers that are working in a restricted environment, it works brilliantly, because at the end of the day, it gets put on charges up overnight, and the guy's got it all day long, running around doing his job. It works very, very good, very efficiently. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. As a car to own, to drive around on the road, no, 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 no. It's just not my thing. Battery powered chainsaws, yeah, there's right. So my son Dan introduced me to those. He was working for a very, very large, well-known tree surgery firm, because when Dan left farming, he went into tree surgery. From tree surgery, he became a teacher. And he introduced me to battery chainsaws. Now, when I first saw a battery chainsaw, I went, nah, never work, never do the job. Do you know what? Did the only thing we did find was the early models. Some of them had plastic drive units, and after a while they would chew the teeth. And I can't remember the manufacturer Dan's boss bought in the end, but they actually had a metal drive unit, so it's metal gearing, metal teeth. They worked really, really, really well. And in actual fact, as Dan would say, especially when you're working up in the trees, was a lot more efficient than a petrol chainsaw, because it is click it on, pull the trigger, and the power was instant. It made working with the chainsaw a lot safer, a lot easier. But the other thing was, as soon as you took your finger off that go button, it stopped. It didn't function. There was none of this dropping the chainsaw, and as the revs are decreasing, it's cutting through your leg. It stopped, which made it a lot easier and low noise. So they came in because the company he was working for did a lot of contracts in London, and a lot of the councils in London would not allow two-stroke chainsaws to be used up there because of the pollution and because of the noise. So it had to be batteries. So yeah, there are some good ones out there. Yeah, for the average person, 120-mile range isn't enough. But if you're an estate worker, which is where they've aimed that vehicle, Kiwi, yeah, it's ideal. And somebody once said to it, they said, "What's the towing capability?" So when I spoke to the guy week before last, in actual fact, we're having a look at the new model that they're working on. I said, "What's the towing capacity? What will it tow?" And he said, "Right, we've so far," he said, "legally, it's going to be rated for 3 tons." So right, he said, "but at the moment we have pulled 7.5 tons with it." He said, "in testing." So again, it's the way it works. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Battery drills. I remember when battery drills first come in, the first rechargeable drills. I remember looking at them and go, "It's never going to take off, mate." That rechargeable drill never take off. You're never going to get a rechargeable drill that's powerful enough to do the sort of work I do on steel. Yeah, it might be all right on a flimsy bit of plywood or something, but me, I work on steel, quarter-inch steel and stuff like that. Battery? Nah, it's never going to do it. Never going to have enough power, and it will just run down too quickly, and it won't be efficient enough to do the job. Yeah, when was the last time we bought a drill with a lead on it? Tea, exactly. Yeah. So does it need to be on the surface? It could be. Yeah. Very good point. And in actual fact, tea, what you could then do is you could pipe it down the country, and then at various points create reservoirs, lakes, whatever, as storage systems, as filter systems, as a way of using it as well, which will enlarge your capacity. If you've got a pipe in and a pipe out, and then you've got a big old lake in the middle, brilliant. And I know people say to me, yes, Mickey, it's fine you saying that, but look at the damage caused by dams when people lost their homes and so on. We're only a small country. Yeah, you're right. But I'd rather see a couple of lakes created than another industrial estate with nothing on it. No, you're right there, Lee Michelle. There's not enough cobalt to go full battery. There isn't, and again, that's it. Battery technology. It's got to be improved. It's got to be improved massively. It's got a long way to go yet. But again, when we first got electricity, people didn't like it. When we first got gas, people didn't like it. The first cigarette lighters, I've no doubt, were classed as dangerous items. Things will evolve and they will change. They always do. Um, and we've just got to accept that fact. We're the first generation really that has seen the evolution of the motor industry to this level. The last people to see that were the guys that stood there with their horses and carts, watching the clunky thing go up the road on its wooden wheels. So, as with them there, who probably stood there and said, "That's never going to take off. Never take off. You have to buy your petrol from the chemists. It's flammable. It's dangerous. It's never going to take off that. You're idiots. Awesome cart. We've used them for thousands of years. Absolutely brilliant, reliable. The thing feeds itself. Shoe it regularly, fine. It's we're at that stage. We're just breaking into that stage. It's evolution time. Things will change. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to accept it, or maybe look at it with a little bit of wonder and go, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's going to be interesting. Where we're going to be in 50 years' time, if we're still here. Hydrogen cars, yeah. Hydrogen cell, brilliant technology. Brilliant technology. Very simple. Been around for fucking hundreds of years, hydrogen. It's just having the ability to produce the cells. The cells are, it's quite a simple system. I mean, at the end of the day, you run electrical current through, sort of simplify it for you, electrical current through salt water. When you run electrical current through salt water, you break down the materials. Right? Water is made of three elements: hydrogen, oxygen, or two elements, I should say, hydrogen and oxygen, and you're basically separating some of the hydrogen off. So it's as simple as that. Young Genghis did all right with his horses, yeah. Yeah. Old mine pits, yeah. A problem with the old mine pits, especially if you're looking down in the West Country and that, is the amount of other minerals and nasties in there. Genghis. Yeah. Yeah, they are hiking the hills. I've been following Lord Bath and his hydrogen engine a lot. I'm quite interested in it. I was fascinated in watching his unveiling when they all poo-pooed it, and he was able to turn around and go, "Well, this engine's run this generator for 2 years, non-stop." Um, yeah, yeah. Of course, it's been hidden. Of course, it's been hidden. Hey, Elcroc, see you later, mate. Take it easy. Thank you very much. I'll keep you all posted. Don't worry, I'm still going to be here for a long time yet. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the future takes us. And I think we're quite a lucky generation, really. I mean, when I think about it, I think about where we were when I was a young man, 15, 16 years old. As I've said many times before, computers were unthought of, really, not in the way we have them now. It made a phone call. No, in actual fact, it wasn't the case that you made phone calls. If you were going to organise a meet-up, so you turn around to your mates on a Sunday night, you go, right, I'll see you at the Awesome Groom, 7 o'clock Friday night then. And that was it. You were there at 7 o'clock on Friday night. You had to be. If you weren't, half an hour later, they'll have moved off into the town, gone somewhere else, and then you're wandering around the town looking for them to catch them up. Vehicles, in fact, I've actually got it here. So here we go. Bit of the Aldershot news from a long time ago. Okay. The Renault 18 GTL. Here's one for you. So, buy yourself the new Renault 18 GTL. Let's put my reading glasses on, actually. So, what does it say about the Renault 18 GTL? Designed for economy, a 5-speed gearbox. It even has an econometer as standard, and returns on a remarkable 50.2 miles per gallon at 56 miles an hour, as compared to the Renault 4 Cortina 1.6 GL with its 39.8 miles at 56, Vauxhall Cavalier 1.6 at 46, the Fiat Mirafiori 1.6. Who remembers them? That was a brilliant car. That got 42. And the Morris Tau 1.7, which give you a grand 40 miles to the gallon at 56 miles an hour. It's funny you find on adverts like that. Makes you laugh, doesn't it? God, things haven't changed. We're still chasing the mileage. Living Lavu, I'm disgusted with you. A Roman helmet? No. I want to see you and your missus there on the cart. Yeah. Your missus should be doing the full Bodicea, and you should be doing the reins for her. I want to see the full Queen of the British or the Iceni going down the lane. We'll have none of that Roman rubbish over here. What have they ever done for us? Yeah, it is, John. We're often discussing old cars here. And its memories, because it's like, what did we have? What was out there? Aqueducts, yeah, aqueducts. Underfloor heating, toilets, medicine. No, we have medicine. Yeah, which is a bit crude, but we have medicine. Roads. Who needs a road? The Romans were good at building. Everybody gets this wrong. Everybody's like, oh, Romans are brilliant at roads. Yeah, they're great at roads. They can't do roundabouts or bends. Yeah, you've never seen a good road. Nobody's ever stood there and said to you, "Well, Roman junction. That's a brilliant junction. That good at bend. That follows the hill perfectly. No, they can only go in straight lines, and we get mistaken. We go, yeah, they were brilliant straight lines. Yeah, straight line. All the locals were up on the ridge line. Just follow the ridge line. It's a lot easier. That's right. Stone Arch Bridge still carry traffic. Oh yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. Yeah, put the cat amongst the pigeons there, doesn't it? Well, I don't know that it was the Romans that made them better. It was probably the poor buggers that they'd enslaved in the local community that were up there building them. It's amazing what you can do when you've got a couple of hundred slaves. Monty Python, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where I took it from. Gotta love it for a bit of life for Brian, eh? Job programs, local labour, yeah. Yeah, so yeah. Is that where we get the word auxiliary from? I'll give them sanitation. They were good with sanitation, although the whole sharing a stick with a bit of loofah stuck on the end of it, which is just a bit uncomfortable. I'll be out with the natives. I'm afraid I'll quite happy use a stinging nettle instead. Hello, would I? You come back to say hello? No? Oh, he's sitting on the floor wagging his tail, joining the conversation. Troops from the other countries. Okay, doke. So, well, yeah. So they wouldn't have been Roman citizens then, because I think it was, yeah. Jason, have a great week, mate. No worries, no worries. She will. I should let her know that you're sending love. No, that I'll give you that, John Kennedy. That is one of the things. Never been able to recreate Roman concrete, which still stands as good today as the day it was put up. Do you know what? Yeah, we definitely need to do some research there and find out what that method is, because it worked. And it always interests me when people say, "Oh, yeah, it was stuff they brought from Italy," but you think about trying to ship it all the way to Britain, the amount used it. There was a definite technique in how they put their concrete together, that using the resources from all over, that became better. Anyone who done a full stretch in Roman army became a citizen afterwards, so they earned their citizenship. Plenty of line back then. That probably was something to do with it. Yeah, yeah. The old technologies. Could be volcanic ash. Yeah, quite reasonably. Yeah. And again, when we look at old societies, isn't it? When we look at what the Mayans built, people like that, the Romans and that, we can talk about it all we want, come up with theories and ideas. We still don't know. Um, yeah, it's won't surprise me. Pumice, of course, because pumice is super light, isn't it? So in actual fact, when I'm saying transporting the pumice or transporting the materials were difficult, but pumice is super light. Mind you, when you break it down, though, it doesn't. Yeah, interesting, and it floats. Yeah, good point. Pumice stones. Did anybody use a pumice stone when they were younger? 40 years then was about 25 now. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, it's a bit of history. How many got here? It's only done today. Hour and 48 minutes. We're nearly there. Like modern thermalite blocks. Thermalite blocks. I hate thermalite blocks. Won't stop around. Yeah. Good old pumice stone. Yeah. No, we can't. Yeah. Definitely don't make cast iron as good as we used to. Not as durable anyhow. It's too brittle today. They try to get too clever with the elements within it. Yeah, technology. Right. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to wind it up in a minute because we're down to 19 and we're at an hour and 49 minutes, and I'm going to go down and sort my lovely wife out and make sure she's okay. I will pass on all the regards to from all of you guys, and I really appreciate the thoughts and caring. Like I say, Life's a Hobby is going to be sticking up a video after this with his scary encounter. Go and have a look. It's interesting. You thoroughly enjoy it, and it gets back to exactly what I was saying before about preloading the brain. Okay. Antique pans are super expensive. Trying to find them now is almost impossible. No, we're definitely not as resilient as we used to be. We're not, but we're still. Society's not as resilient as it used to be, but there's still a few of us out there in this glorious world of ours that hang on to our resilience and do our best to, keep it going. And maybe that's our role. Maybe we are all, in our own way, druids, taking old knowledge and preserving it and passing it on to future generations in the hope that it will stand them in good stead. But like the druids, we also look at new technologies and take from it what is sensible and what can be used. Thriving, not surviving. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Anyhow, guys and girls, in this wonderful world of ours, take it easy, get outdoors, have your adventures, stay safe, love those you do, forgive those you don't. And as always, may peace, light, and joy be upon you all. Have a gorgeous week this week, and I look forward to speaking to you all next Sunday. So until then, from me and my little furry buddy Willow and the lovely wife Kaz, have a great one. Mickey out.